Point being is all those news and screws, nails, whatever it is, your OSB pile, your scrap OSB pile, all that stuff costs you money that you're not recuperating, that you can't use in your profit or become more competitive in your market, whatever that is. But realize that reducing waste can either gain you money or gain you sales. Pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered. Yep, that's right. Being a hog gets you slaughtered and killed. And, you want to be a piggy, but you want to be heavy, like me, but not too obese that they want to take you down. And what I thought about that was the other day, I had a friend. He called me, asked me about a price on something. And I thought, well, didn't sound right. But, I said, things go up all the time. Let's just check it out. And come to find out, the price was quite a bit higher than what the market was bearing. And as we got to looking at it, what we found was that the supplier, the guy doing the work, was padding his pocket. And it wasn't the issue of padding his pocket. It was more the issue of he was trying to hide some profit in another number that he probably shouldn't have been hiding it in. That anybody who had the right sense of mind could call around and figure out what the price was. What he should have done is just put it right back into his regular bill. And the customer, my friend who was talking to me, goes, I would have just paid that if that's what he needed. But the fact he's hiding it irritates me. And that's why I can see that. If he needed X amount more for his service, that's fine. But don't increase the price of your product. So, for example, if you guys are building with OSB and you're charging let's say $50 a sheet, and you tell them, the customer, that, and they'll go out and look and they find that they can get that same piece of OSB for 15, then it's kind of bad. It looks bad on you. Whereas you're just trying to make a living, and I understand that, but don't get hoggish, as I would say. Don't actually pad it where it looks bad on you. If you need more for your service, then justify it. But don't be trying to hide things where people can actually catch you in the game. So I got to thinking, it's our job to produce things less than market price. What do I mean? Well, if something is going for $100 and you can produce that for, say, $50, and you can mark it up, your profits at 50, that's great. But if your product, if you're doing it for 125 and the market only calls 100, you got to figure something out. Now, there's some ways to do that. We're going to talk about that here in a minute, but just think about it. Even if it was you, would you feel good if somebody's out there talking about, hey, have you heard what OSB prices are? And they get talking to somebody, well, hell no, it ain't that. Call Home Depot, call Menards, and you find out that you're paying like 3 or 4 times what it needs to be. How would you feel? And that's the point. Justify your value. So let's talk about the 5 ways to, if you need the more money, let's find a way to do it. And there's 2 ways of doing it. You can raise your prices or you can cut your cost. That's simple. And I guess the easiest way, in my opinion, if you want to increase your pricing, is just over time, gradually increase it. And you can do that when you're really busy, because it doesn't hurt as bad if you don't get the job. I know you've heard friends of mine, I've heard it, I know you've heard it. I priced it this way just because everybody else is busy and I don't want to do it. If I get the job, great. Did you get the job? Yeah, yes or no? And that's fine, because the market is bearing that. Nobody else would do it. Are you bidding jobs for people that you really don't want to work for, but you're trying to be nice? I don't mean that mean-like, but I mean, if you know they're going to be a hassle, then you got to pay for your frustration. That's what they need to do. If you don't get that job, you're probably better off for it. So gradually increase your prices, see where you're at, pay attention, and go that route. There's another way. You can find those people who value your service and will pay more than the market. Now, they're not going to pay a whole lot more than the market, and a whole lot more is an opinion, really. Some people might pay a whole lot more, and a whole lot more means something different to everybody. But if you can show the value of your service, so my first example, if my friend would have said, well, my friend already told me, he said if he wanted more for his service and the material would cost the price it cost, I'd have been happy to go ahead and do it. So he already valued the guy's service as far as speed, reliability, and so forth. He just caught him in I hate to call it a lie, he caught him in a tactic, strategy that they're using that he didn't appreciate. My friend didn't appreciate. Is it bad to sell something for more? No, I mark up my materials, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Is that also an option? But you got to make money. Nobody's saying not to make money. You got to eat. You got to support your family, and we want you to make a profit because at the end of the day, as a CEO, we're going to have you invest those extra monies in other assets. Well, let's go back to the material thing. Negotiate with your suppliers. So not only can you increase your prices, you can also cut your cost. It's the same thing. So how can you get a better deal from your suppliers? One time we were looking for materials, and we went to them and said, "Hey, something's got to give. We're finding all this stuff out here, and we're fighting. We did some studies and noticed that the materials are, on the whole, seems a little bit higher than we want it to be, or based on the average. When we looked at average of all the markets, and that's the best thing about being a part of an association. You can get those information from people. Matter of fact, you can Google it these days. What's the percentage of materials versus cost for building a home or whatever? And you do that information. And first they said, well, we're giving the best we can. The vendor did. And you said, okay, now here's where the part comes where I can help them and they help me. How should I buy? What can I do to help you reduce your cost to me? And one was just buy it a certain way. What do you mean? Well, if you bought a truckload versus a quarter of a truckload, you could save money. So we looked at that option. And you might be saying, Chris, I ain't got money for a truckload. And you might not, or you might even have the space. I know. There's things you got to look at. But over time, it might be in your best interest to build that space, rent that space. Go get that short-term note at the bank, working leverage, working capital, to buy that truckload, and it saves you money in the long run. It gives you cheaper prices or whatever, or however you want to look at that, more profit, but you incorporate that expense into your business. But do all that math. You got accountants, not bookkeepers, I'm talking about accountants, that can look at your income statements and can adjust and say, okay, well, if you do this, it's going to happen. This is going to happen. How can you justify it? And you might find that even that building you build to store the more material you're buying to save money might be deductible on your tax. There's lots of different options out there, and I'm not trying to hear, that's not what we're here about. The point being is find out from your supplier how they can help you. Now you can help them, make it a win-win. One time I even found out we didn't have to order more. Technically, we just had to buy it in different volumes. Well, you can get X amount of gallons, but if you need 10 gallons, don't buy 10 gallons. You buy 2 5-gallon buckets. Now, some of this stuff is logical, don't get me wrong, but damn, look at that type of stuff. Everything makes a difference at the end of the day. Ask some of your friends. And what I love about having this podcast, I can bring people on, you can ask those type of questions. Well, how do you buy your lumber? Or how do you buy your nails? And the point being is that everybody has a different tactic. By taking those other ideas, and you don't even have to be in them. Most stuff I've learned a lot of is from other industries, how they do things, and I'm able to take that idea and put it into our world and then use that to our benefit. So we talked about reducing waste. That is one of them as well. So you can negotiate with the supplier and get the suppliers to provide it. But if you're wasting those materials, that's not helping you either. So you got to reduce the waste. What do you mean? Well, one time Oh, this is what I'll that was a long time ago. But we used to. I was a printing company. I was working for a printing company, and paper is our number one expense besides labor. But paper is the number one. And you walk around, you see paper laying on the floor. It was waste, granted, but we started to assign a figure to that waste. So each sheet of paper cost a nickel. How many nickels do you have to pick up before that? Now back then, hell, I'd pick up a damn penny. I still pick up pennies. It's just not as worth as much as it was back then. But you pick up dimes, nickels, quarters, and I'm betting that paper costs a dime today when it did a nickel back then. The point being was you picked it up, you realized that's expense. Well, Chris, what do you mean? Well, go pick up screws around the building when you're done. Or pick up nails. Now, I know they're not very expensive, but it's cost them more time to go pick them up. But the point being is all those news and screws, nails, whatever it is, your OSB pile, your scrap OSB pile, all that stuff costs you money that you're not recuperating, that you can't use in your profit or become more competitive in your market, whatever that is. But realize that reducing waste can either gain you money or gain you sales. Lastly, just improve your efficiencies. And I talked about, my boys, they drop nails, they drop screws. I know, and that's going to happen. And nothing I do is going to stop it. Except I might be able to buy some equipment that makes it less dropping nails and less dropping screws. A lot of those guns out there today, hold the nails in one little slack. And I'm not saying most people buy those Milwaukee nailers and screws, guns and so forth. But look at those type of things that are involved. What can you invest in to make yourself more efficient? It might be some software that we talk about in the past and be happy to talk to you about one-on-one, but there's software out there that can help make your people more efficient by making them part of the team and incentivizing them that when they see that nickel laying on the ground or that penny or whatever we want to call it, that item that you've designated a expense on can pick it up and say, hey, we need to save this, or don't need to waste this because it's coming out of my pocket. Make it feel like it's their responsibility too. And it is, but sometimes it's hard to express. Incentivize and make it happen. The other way you can become more efficient, and these are for bigger teams, if you got more than one team, or maybe just an individual, but either study them, see how they're more productive, or ask that team what they do differently. You might send teams out. We break up every now and then. We go to different spots. Why is this one team more efficient than the other? I don't know. But you look at it. They might be putting materials at a certain spot and not have to walk as far to get it. They might be moving, don't have any cell phones. They leave their cell phones in the truck. Hell, I know that's got to be efficient. Leave them things alone. Lunchtime, break time, whatever. But whatever it is, identify what those guys are doing and then teach your other team to do the same. And just because you have one more productive team doesn't mean they can't improve either. Go watch them, evaluate them. It's no big deal. Tell them what you're doing and tell them why they're doing it. You incorporate that into the thing. Some people just like to pat on the back. I appreciate your time doing that. You guys are great. You are twice as fast as others. I'm going to try to get those guys on the same boat as you are. What do you think's going on? Take one of you working for them and go watch the other team. What do you think they're doing wrong? It's not negative. It's all positive if you use it and you approach it properly. Don't go beat the guys with a whip, say you move faster. Most people are out there who are loyal to you, are taking care of you and taking care of themselves, and they understand the game. That if you don't win, they don't win as an employee. Simple as that. If there's other ways you can do it, and if you want to talk about this and ways to increase your efficiencies, ways to reduce your costs, ways to raise your prices, I've got lots of different other ideas as well. Can't talk about here. We have to have more episodes, obviously, so we'll bring those up. But if that's something you want to talk about one-on-one, down in the show notes below, there's a link. Get hold of me. We'll be happy to talk about those things, improve your time, because I want you to become the CEO of your business. That being said, this is Chris G. God be with you till we meet again. And next Tuesday it is. Bye-bye.